Ouais. Dans ce rap bis, on est arrivé les mains dans les poches. À l'époque, c'était en voile beat, on fait le truc à l'arrache et laisse parler la rage. Moi et mes potes, on veut graver ça dans la roche. On a la dalle et rien dans le beat.
When my DJ friend Green Giant told me about Yvan Jaquemet a.k.a. Peacemaker, I searched online and I found that a beatmaker is the person who comes up with melodies, drum patterns and loops. If you put it that way, it sounds easy. I mean, easy if you know how to make beats. But making a living by making beats is a different story. So in my interview with Peacemaker, I discovered not only the artistic side of the job, but also the business behind it and how he managed to have a 15-year career dedicated solely to producing beats. By the way, the piece you're listening to right now is produced by Peacemaker for the artist Sniper. Thank you very much, Yvan, for being here and to be part of my podcast. I'm very happy. Your job is a very unique one, so I would love to start by asking you to describe in a few words what is it that you do as a beat maker.
A beat maker is someone that makes the instrumental, the music part of a song in urban music. So he has or she has electronic material, electronic soft or hardware too. Yeah, this is how we do beats, and that's how we say it, or productions. And then I propose my beats to different artists, and sometimes I also work with the artist directly on a special beat with inputs coming from the artist.
I see. So you basically give inspiration to the artist when you give him a beat, and then he or she can elaborate from that, or the other way around, and she has an idea, and then you do the beat accordingly. Is that correct?
Exactly. Both work. Actually, it depends. Most of the time, I prefer to have an input first from the artist, so I know more or less in which direction I have to go. Yeah, and when I work on a whole album, this is also different, because I need to have the big picture, and there's a lot of talk with the artist before starting to work. This goes on for maybe 5-6 months. Actually, I worked a lot with an artist, a Swiss rapper called Stress. He's a friend of mine. And we worked together on 4 or 5. These were 4 or 5 of his first albums, and it was really, for me, a great adventure, great experience, because we were really on the same boat from the very start, from scratch to the end of the album, the end of the production, which ends with the mastering of all the songs.
That's impressive. Can you just describe in a couple of words what is urban music?
Okay, this is hard, but actually urban music is mostly rap or hip-hop, depends how you call it. I would say this urban music is first this is first Afro-American music. I mean, it's made electronically, usually. We can add also some acoustic instruments or electric guitars or whatever, but the basis is made electronically, and we have rappers or singers on it. Now it's really hard to describe better than this, because we have also urban pop. This is how we call it. For instance, for me, Rihanna or Beyoncé, they make urban pop, but initially they come from R&B. Which is part of urban music.
Okay, and I bet you've done this since you were very young, and there was a passion that you had. How did this become a profession for you? Like, how did you start from the beginning?
Actually, I played the piano since I was 8 years old. And when I was 13, I received at my birthday, how do you say that? It's a keyboard. Yeah, this was a keyboard. And I could really I could make the whole music with it. You know, there were drums, there were also guitar sounds on it. And this was really, for me, the starting point. From then on, I knew that I would do music in my life. And then, step by step, I met also friends. We had different bands together. And at 16 or 17 years old, it was the beginning of a French hip hop, French rap, and this was really for me. Then I knew that I would go in this scene, in this direction, hip hop. Yeah, and then. At 19, with my band, Double Pacte, this was the first EP. It's a short album that was released. And then, it went on, and I met people that had a good network in the scene, and I could also meet French artists, and I began also to produce, to make beats for them. So I began to be professional at the age of was 23, 24, not before, 24 I would say. It took a long time.
That means that you needed to sustain yourself economically somehow. Did you have a side job before you became independent through this job, through your passion?
Actually, my parents helped me a lot. I had an apartment, but I didn't pay the whole fee for it, the whole loan. Rent. And we already got, with my band Double Pacte, we already got some money from the shows we did. So and then I made some beats for the first was Beatmaker or Roche, the first, let's say, famous artist in France, and they were successful. And then I got enough money to live on it with copyright publishing.
So you could actually, you told me for about 15 years, you could live off of your passion and your musical artistry, which is awesome. And then what happened in between? Because also there is an interesting aspect of technology kicking in during these 20, 30 years. Since you started, how did this evolve, and what are you still able today to do 100% beat making?
Yeah, nowadays I'm not a beat maker 100%. I have also a job beside as a teacher in the SE Institute in Geneva. Fortunately, it's in the music area because I teach music business there. So it's very interesting for me, because I keep in touch with younger people from the music scene, and I also learn a lot of things because I also invite many other teachers coming from the music industry. So actually it's really hard, I think, to live long as a beat maker. Actually, in the States, in America, some of them are able to do it, but everything changes a lot. Of course, it's about, let's say, just fashion. Some beats are fashionable at the time, and then 5 years after, it's no more fashionable. And it's also related, of course, with all the technologies, the new technologies coming maybe every 4 or 5 years. Yeah, you have to be able to adapt to this new technology. And now, so I'm still beat making. It's about 30 to 40% of my time. And now I'm working with the young beat makers, and they are much better than me about the technologic side, So I'm more in giving ideas, in having the artistic direction. Then they can help me also to have this technologic side, the last fashion, how to make beats, or how to make drums, for instance. And don't really have time to check all the tutorials, on YouTube or whatever, and be able to be always on the point with this technology. And for me, it's also interesting because I have this. That's what I like really now. Is to transfer my experience to younger people, and to be more in the artistic direction, and also in the business, to help them also about publishing, copyright, because it's quite hard to understand how it works.
I have a couple of questions about that. What are your main teachings, I say? What do you suggest and recommend to these young people about the business of music? Which attention, should they put to which topic?
I don't want to go too much in details because it's also sometimes hard to understand in 5 sentences, but I think it's very important to speak about business when you have a band, when you work with people very early. Because when money comes, when there is no money, it's no problem, really, like Biggie said. But when money comes, then it's most of the time a problem if you didn't speak about it before, and how much, who takes what and why, actually. So, and this is hard if you don't really know business. But this is the first point: speak about money in case money comes. My advice would be to very quickly to speak to someone who knows about business and who can really help. And in Switzerland, it's a small market, and it's hard because sometimes it's hard for artists to know who can help them about business. And this is also, I think, we do it in our school, but it's a private school, so it costs also money. But we have here in Switzerland, in the Suisse romande, also some institutions that can also give advices about this. And that's important, yeah. Everything that also about contracts. Don't sign a contract too early, and especially not for a long time. This is the worst you can do is sign a contract when you are an artist, not a beatmaker, because this is different. But as an artist, you shouldn't sign a contract for more than 2 or 3 years, I think. Otherwise, it's you can be really blocked for a very long time.
Are there any myths around your profession? Legends or half-truths?
I don't really know. I'm not sure there are really myths about beat making, because it's not a job that's really very famous, actually. People see the artist, the rapper or the singer, but not really the beat makers. But what is for sure, it's really hard to live on it.
Can you be an artist and a beat maker at the same time? Are there examples of this?
Yes, of course. I'm trying to find examples now, names. I'm not sure to find them now. But this is, of course, now it's really possible. And it's possible with the technology, because it's really much easier to make beats now than it was in the 90s or beginning of the 20th century. 21st century, sorry. And now it's easier. Everybody has garage band and his computer, and actually it's not that hard. It's not harder than this to make beats at the first level, let's say.
Well, I imagine the beauty of a job like this is that you can do it from anywhere in the world. So talking about digital nomads and working remotely, it's definitely along those lines. Of course, if you can, earn your living from this. You're telling me that, after the first, the 15 years, you're now, teaching. So you're combining different sources of revenue, which is important for you. You have a family and so forth. So that said, what are the avenues that a young man or young woman have in front of them when they want to become artists, and specifically beat makers?
A beat maker, the first thing to do is not remain in his in his room. A beat maker should go out, should send his beats as much as possible to artists, whatever. And actually, for me, it was very important for my experience to work with a band. This means it's not important to have a band, but it's important to work regularly with the same rappers or the same singers, because this is how you really improve. It's very important to have criticism and to be able to listen to it and then try to change some things. This is how we grow, actually. First thing, so this is about networking. This is important, actually. This is something that I didn't really need to do in the 90s, because there were few beat makers. Now we have a lot of big beat makers because it's easier to make beats and it costs much less money. Before you had to have equipment, and this equipment, samplers, they cost money. Mm-hmm. So networking and entertain, this networking, this is important, especially, and also be able to, little by little, also to be interested by other music scenes, because I could also see it, urban music, it's really music made by young people for young people most of the time. And I could see that all the rappers I worked with, except maybe 2 or 3, now they don't rap anymore. So you have to be able, as a beat maker, then to also work with other people, with the younger generation too, and also be able to, as I'm doing now, little by little, maybe not, let's say, always make beats, but have this artistic direction. This means from beat maker to artistic producer or artistic director. I know some beat makers in France that are now also artistic producers or artistic directors, A&Rs for labels. Mm-hmm.
Right, so that's a good evolution, and so you are also a producer, meaning that you produce the beat making from other artists. Is that correct? And so you basically get paid in order to produce it, and how much of this, can actually you potentially earn your living from this if you're, let's say, well known, or if you have enough clients? And what is your relationship to the label? That's the other question.
Yes, as I said, I could live, I could have a living, earn enough money for about 15 years as a beat maker, but it's really hard because you never know if the song you worked on will be a hit, will be successful. This is you never really know. And now with the streaming, actually, you get less money than before with the CD sales, for instance. Regarding labels, yes, of course, I had relation with the labels at the time, but most important is really with the artist. And this means try to be able to have a connection with the artist is much more important than having a connection with labels, artists or managers also.
Do you have a story that you want to share about your life as a beat maker and producer?
Not really, but what I can see in my lifetime, the best beats I did are for artists that really also gave me motivation to work with them, and I realize that I'm really good when the artists really want to work with me, and I can do better than what I would do for me, for instance. Maybe one story that was also kind of funny for me, there is one of the beats I did for Stress, for the rapper, the Swiss rapper. Actually, a part of it was really made by random. This was before artificial intelligence existed. It was complete. I made a mistake. I took another sequence of another song, and I put the drums and the instruments of the song I was working with. And this was quite funny because this made something really good out of it, and this never happened actually. But it's not really funny.
That's okay, that's totally fine. And I'm thinking about any lessons that you've learned from the past that could be useful for the young people of today. Of course, years have gone by, you've gained your experience, you learned lessons. Do you wish that you had known something in the past that you know today, which would have made your choices different than you've done today? Or would you have just done the same exact things?
There are two things, actually. First is it's about business, because I didn't know there were two types of rights when you are a beat maker. You are a composer, and at the same time you also produce a part. You produce the music on the whole song. And this is also actually you also get money from out of it. I don't want to go into details, but actually, yeah, I kind of didn't get some amount of money because I didn't know it. So as I said before, try to really find somebody that can explain to you how it works. This is very important. And yeah, the other thing would be for me the fact, as I said also before, the networking is really important. And as a beatmaker, I think many beatmakers also have the same character as me. We are more like people staying at home and really enjoying working alone or with an artist in the cellar in our studio. And this is not enough. So maybe, I mean, the best would be to get a manager, but in our countries, maybe in France, Germany, of course in the States, it's different. But it's hard to find a manager that manages only beatmakers. Now it's getting more known, actually. But this, yeah, I would really try, if you have the same character as me, to find a manager, because he would do this job, networking, business side and everything, and then you can concentrate on the music side.
And the manager would have to believe in you and accept you as one of his the artists that he's going to represent, right? Is there any also money involved? Do you need to pay the manager to do that?
Yeah, of course. The manager really needs to believe in you, to believe in what you're doing. And this is the first point. And the other one, no, you don't need to pay for it. I mean, the manager, usually he takes, let's say, between 15 and 25% of what you're getting. Mm. So that's really, I mean, he also, for his living, has to find jobs for you. Mm-hmm. Mm.
And then it's a win-win situation if it works out, right? So how is the school helpful? I wonder if you had school opportunities when you were young, but since you're now in a school environment as a teacher, in which way does the school help the young generation achieve what they want to do in the artistry, in their art?
So first, let's say our school, when I'm teaching, is more about, I mean, it concerns people who want to be actors of the music industry, so not artists first. But we have, of course, also 1/3 of my students are also artists, of course. But I would say it's easier to have a living, to get a living out of, let's say, a job in the music industry than a job as an artist. This is also important to say. The career of an artist is sometimes very short. Mm-hmm. So we teach artists first about all this business side, and we teach also the importance of being able to make a team, to build a team around them, and it takes time because you need to find the right persons. At the beginning, you start with your friends most of the time, and then sometimes you have to find other people than your friends, because if you grow up very quickly, maybe it's not the case for your friends. So, yeah, I mean, really trying to find the right persons, and first, if it's possible, the right manager, because then the manager has to do this work.
My last question to you: what are the 2 top skills that you believe are necessary in order to achieve your goal as a beat maker?
Of course, I didn't speak a lot about music, but you have to be very good, of course. This means, when I say, I mean, you have to be, let's say, be able to do what is fashionable at the time, and at the same time, you have to bring something special, because now you have so many beat makers that do good music. Let's say you have all these what we call type beats that are in the same way as this or that artist that are already famous. I mean, that's fine, but I'm not sure you can do a career like this. So you have to make something, to put something special in your music that can identify your music. And actually, it's not really, for instance, if I take my experience, I didn't do it on purpose, but I really liked a lot soul music at the end of the 90s. And it was not that fashionable at the time. Before, then Jay-Z did it in most of his albums. I don't want to say that. I didn't have any connection with Jay-Z, so of course he didn't get inspired by me. But it's just to say I had some also. At the time, it was sampling. We sampled short parts of other songs to make beats. My parents had only a few vinyls at home, and they were not soul music. Some of them, yeah, but not a lot. But actually, I think I was very good at taking some very short part of a song and take something completely different with it. And I didn't have any limit. So I was very creative, and this is very important because now everybody can redo a beat that was out, because with the technology you have tutorials, you know exactly how to do this type of sound in the drums or this type of sound in the bass. Okay, that's cool to start, but then you really have to come with something special, something different. Otherwise, nobody will listen to you.
Great, thank you very much for all these insights. They're going to be very helpful. And I also want to name your artist name, Peacemaker, which is important in the field. And I would love to thank you for being part of the podcast. If you have anything else that you want to say, let me know. But otherwise, I'm very happy with what we've discussed today. And I wish you all the best for the rest of your career.
Yeah, thank you too. It was a pleasure also to be in this podcast. Just want to add something, because I spoke a lot about business and how to do it and everything. I think for me, the first thing, of course, is passion. I spent hours and hours and hours to make beats since I was 16, and I still love it now. It was never for me a job.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I hear it often during my interviews. When you love what you do, it never feels like a job. And this is what I wish for you all. No matter what professional path you choose, or which profession chooses you. Enjoy Sniper for a few more moments and stay tuned for more job tales.
On retranscrit la vie qu'on